morning and good afternoon, depending on wherever you at. The time is recording. This is episode 159 of the Restricted Zone podcast, and I'm with a big group today, man. A large cast. Kendrick, introduce yourself to the people out here, man.
You already know who it is. Smartest man on the podcast, as I always say. I am missing a hat today. I wish I had my Smashville hat because it's home of the Predators.
Whoa, man. Greg, introduce yourself, man. They haven't seen you in a while, man. The fans have been growing since the last time you've been here. Introduce yourself to the new subscribers.
Yo, what's good? Honestly, don't gotta say much, man. I'll let the words do the talking. I'm good to be back with y'all.
God bless. All right. Chris, introduce yourself to the people out here, man.
You already know it's the man, the myth, the legend. Got to educate some fools, but it should be fun in the process. I'm intrigued by tonight's episode. So, you know what? Just be here for a wild ride.
Oh, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. Mark, introduce yourself to the people out here, man. You know. Yes. No words needed. Just all right then. All right. That's how we're introducing ourselves, man. Listen, let's dive straight into it, man. Listen, NBA Finals is here. It was not here yet. It doesn't start till later on in the week, but we finally came. We got our matchups. Celtics and the Mavs. I'm sorry, Mar. The Pacers unfortunately couldn't get there. Very unfortunate. But honestly, this is going to be one of the best. Go ahead, Kendrick.
What was unfortunate? Like, how did nobody else see the
well,
East?
I mean,
wait, you were concerned about that. I want him to finish his sentence. You about to say what about the finals? I just want you to finish that sentence.
Oh, it's going to be one of the best finals matchups we've probably seen in the past couple of years. Got two offensively dominant teams going against each other. And we got two superstars with Luka versus Jason Tatum. Man, they probably won't be guarding each other. Probably not, but it's still going to be exciting. I don't know, Kendrick. I don't know. You think so?
Man, you saw what happened when Anthony Edwards was guarding Kyrie Irving. I mean, why? This is the reason why stars don't guard each other a lot.
Well, listen. All right. Before we dive into the NBA Finals, we got to talk about, man. Listen, just in terms of, I just want to ask you guys this: just what was some of the best things about this season, in your opinion, before we dive into the NBA Final predictions? Like, what was some of the best things about the season? Was it like just the teams? Was it more like it's more diversity and competition now? It's not as simple as, oh, we know this team is going and this team is going. What's some of the best highlights of just the NBA, in your opinion, just this season in particular?
I will say this. I mean, we can only really say that there's real competition in one side of the conference, and that's the Western
Okay, we're
Conference.
just disrespecting the East, right? All right.
I mean, you could take it as disrespect, but I mean, let's we can really sit here and take a poll and be like, who did everyone expect to come out the East? I guarantee you can ask 10 people, 9 of them are going to say the Celtics. Like in reality, like no fan bias, no nothing. Like if you really just simply ask 10 people who actually know ball, 9 out of the 10 of them are going to say the Celtics. It's just because they've always been the better team throughout the entire season. They were number 1 in offense and number 2 in defense. Like, are we shocked by this? Like, is this why? Like, there's no shockness to it. There's no nothing to it. It was just, this is how it was going to go. The West is always more interesting because there's such a deep level of talent. Like look at it like this. I think only the top 3 teams were above 500 in the East.
Yeah.
The rest were under 500. Like, what are we trying to say here? Like,
what you mean above 500?
Like, they had a record above 500. Like, they had a winning percentage above 500.
No, all the teams in the East had a winning record above 500. I was gonna say the
But it's just 3.
The Sixers like definitely had a record above 500, and they were the 7th seed.
Yeah, Sixers. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, every team the 1 through 8 by the time the playing started had a record above 500. I know
So
that
I'm
for a
the
fact.
sorry, you're right.
so the East isn't as weak.
No, it's still weak though, for sure. No, for
I
sure.
think
I still stand by that statement. I'm not
I
even
think
wrong on who's above 500. That was me. I admit that mistake. But I'm gonna still say the East is weak because we all knew who was coming out. Like that's what I'm saying. We all knew who was coming out because of injuries, and even then, even without injuries, people will probably still have the Celtics favored. Like it's the number one seed, you know? The West, you can't say the number one seed is going to be favored because you still had the reigning champions who were in the top, who finished in the top five, you know? So we had the reigning champions. You still had the Wolves being a top three, being a top team defensively. You still had all these other teams. It was still loaded. It was still packed with star-studded people. We still saw LeBron in the playoffs. We still saw KD in the playoffs. I mean, we saw Luka do Luka things. So I feel like there was nothing of surprise on the East Coast and more surprise on the West Coast. And I would say probably the highlight of the season where all the highlights we saw star players do star things, hit game winners, hit dunk on people. I feel like those were the highlights. The disappointment of the season was probably the award season because
Gotta be.
I don't think Jokic deserved MVP. I think it should have went to Luka. Rookie of the year was correct. Defensive player of the year should have went to Wembanyama because Rudy Gobert is not a full defensive player. He's a defensive safety in the NBA because everyone crashes the perimeter to force everyone into the paint. And I mean, it's real easy when you got someone 7'2" with long arms just to stand in the paint and block shots and deter shots. So yeah, that's easy because their paint points aren't easy to get. And who else? The most improved also went to Tyrese Maxey. I don't really think he deserved it because there was never no down year. He always improved. And
I don't think that's how most improved works though. It's not necessarily you get a down year then you improve from it. I think it's just more so of like I was averaging like 18, 19 a game last year, and he went to like 25, 26. And really, it was really more so built on the first half of the year when he was averaging like 28, bro. So he was increasing his scoring significantly.
Let me ask you this because I see your point, but I'm going to argue it with this logic right here. What do you expect to happen when you lose James Harden from your team or someone of that nature from your team? Like, what do you expect to happen? Do you not expect your points to increase when you're from the third option to the second option?
I'll throw that answer back. You're saying, what did you expect to happen? I can give you an even better example of how that didn't happen. So you can't expect that when it comes to an NBA team. Just because somebody leaves doesn't necessarily mean someone should like get to a point where they're scoring more, but that doesn't always happen. Best example, we watched a young gentleman that went from the Golden State Warriors, got traded from the Golden State Warriors and got traded to the Washington Wizards.
That is not the same thing. It is not the same thing at all. Because
how? He went from a team.
I got you because
he was the clear number one option on that team, and he was chucking. His scoring decreased. We were like, yo, we expect you to average 30 a game. You were the number one option on the team.
Okay. You are saying that, but you're saying Jordan Poole like he was starting, like he stayed on the Warriors and Steph Curry left. No, he left. He left and went to another team, and we expected that, but that does not equate how Tyrese Maxey still stayed on the team and lost a player. You lost a young up-and-coming star who obviously, if you look at the Warriors and how they're built, obviously it's going to be easy for anybody who knows how to shoot and who's a competent scorer can go out there and play because, look at who am I next to? Steph Curry. That's easy.
You're talking about what the Warriors were able to do without Jordan Poole. I'm talking about when Jordan Poole went to the Wizards, everyone was saying the same thing. Yo, the Wizards realistically are going to be bummy, but Jordan Poole going to have numbers.
Because we saw him score next to Steph Curry, but he didn't have Steph Curry to distract him.
Hold on. We saw James Harden. You can say anything you want about James Harden. He does get people easy buckets. He does allow people to do more with, like, you know what I'm saying? Because he sets people up. So you're just expecting Tyrese Maxey to just come in the next year and then just dominate. I'm just saying, like,
But he was already doing that with James Harden there. That's what I'm saying. He was already
sporadically. Hold on, that was sporadic though.
Can I say something?
Are we gonna keep it? Go ahead, bro.
I just want to say this. Jordan Poole went from like second, third option to the first option. Tyrese Maxey still playing behind Joel Embiid, so he was the second option. But he was
the third option before.
Yes, and he stepped up and he stepped up and became the second option.
Hold on. We had someone named Tobias Harris that was signed to a max contract who we expected to be a second, if not third option. He was not able to do that.
So I never had high expectations for Tobias Harris in the first place.
Hold on, but
you saying somebody that's useless already.
People did for the Brett. So I'm just saying, like, you're saying, like, I don't understand why he won most improved. He didn't have a down year. I'm like, well, he did increase the scoring average significantly year over year.
What do you expect that if you are literally, you're like, what do you expect to, like, come on, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying.
So if you have
expectations,
if you have expectations for someone to improve, they can become most improved player. What?
Bro,
I have an expectation that you improve.
No, you can improve, but I don't think you deserve an award where all you did was start scoring more due to the fact that you lost a star and you still had another star player. You went from the third option to the second option. You brought up Jordan Poole. He went from the second from a third, fourth option to the number one option. That is a vast jump and vast difference. That's expected to be a dip because you're now getting scouted on. Being a number one option, you're being scouted on.
That's versus expected to be a dip, being the number one option on a team.
Yes. What do you mean? If you were the number one option,
you didn't expect Jordan Poole to, bro. Jordan Poole was averaging like 17 a game, bro.
It's easy to do that off the bench when you have Steph Curry next to you. Stop acting like you're saying this and he didn't have a best shooter in the league on the team.
But at the end of the day, he didn't have the volume to shoot more. So, okay, if his efficiency go down. He
still had Steph Curry to distract people and give him easy looks. You go to a number one option, they're going to throw double, triple teams at you because who do we have to stop? Why are we going to stop the second option or the third option when we can just stop the first option and make everybody else around us beat us? Why do you think Jordan Poole was able to hoop the way he was? Because they were trying to stop Steph Curry when he was on the court. Oh, and he's not on the court. Who are we going to stop next? Klay Thompson.
So basically what you're saying is you expected Jordan Poole to put up the numbers that he did with the Wizards.
I didn't expect him to put up a lot.
So what are we talking about?
But you brought him up. You brought him up, not me.
I'm saying, if you didn't even have the expectation for Jordan Poole to increase his numbers when he went to the new team, I'm listening to you talk right now, and I'm like, bro, like, I hear you, but like, you're acting like going from 3 to 2. Like, you're expecting him to just automatically for Tyrese Maxey to pick up. We didn't know Tyrese Maxey was going to be this.
He showed it already. That's the thing. He
showed glimpses, bro. He showed glimpses. We didn't show he could.
Glimpses. Why would he need to consistently do it? Why would he? But listen to what you're saying. He didn't consistently do it. How do you expect someone to consistently do it when they're the third option and you have James Harden and Joel Embiid? Like, you're ignoring the fact that these are key players that are playing next to these folks that are going to draw attention. Like, Jordan Poole had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. The two, arguably the best shooting duo in the league to ever touch and grace the NBA. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're acting like these are not real things that are there. You got Joel Embiid, who can arguably say that is one of the best offensive big men to touch the NBA court. You can arguably say that. And then you got James Harden that's one of the best ISO players that arguably has touched the court.
But James Harden in Philly wasn't doing ISO ball, bro. James Harden in Philly was James Harden led the league in assists.
He has that ability. People are going to look at James Harden and be like, "Oh, yo, we got to watch because James Harden he can take one step back and next thing you know, he on a 12-0 run himself." Like, don't sit here and act like he can't just run off a quick 12-0 run of 4 straight threes,
We were saying that in Philadelphia.
But it is a possibility. We didn't have to say it, but it's a possibility. You telling me James Harden, you don't think James Harden can run off a 12-0 run or at any point in time with a couple step back threes? Like, come on, bro. I think
when James Harden does it now, we go, wow, go ahead, James, because we don't expect it. Does he have the?
What do you mean?
That's like saying, bro, James Harden's a former MVP. Of course, James Harden is a former MVP. Of course, I expect a former MVP to have a capability of having a bag to do it. But we haven't seen it in an extended period of time.
What do you mean? Oh my goodness. Okay, so he
All
gonna
right,
score off 4 in a row, but come on, bro.
all
Like
right,
he had the ability to.
all
You have to defend that, bro. You have to
right.
pay attention to that, bro. Come on.
Listen, all right, listen. Great debate. We weren't even 10 minutes in. I love it. The energy's up high. I'm all for it, man. We'll definitely do this off the air. Listen, we're gonna move on to the meat and potatoes. We're gonna give our NBA final predictions, man. We're gonna give our predictions and analysis, the X factors, and who listen, this is gonna be an exciting NBA finals. I'm super excited for it. Kendrick, I'm gonna start it off with you. You got a lot to say. I'm gonna follow it off with Greg. Kendrick, who do you have
Pass this
winning?
off. Pass this off. Pass this off.
Pass this off. All right, Greg, I'm gonna swing it to you. I'm gonna let you start it off,
No,
man.
no. Let's start with somebody else, bro. We can start
You
somebody
are
else.
you saying? Whoa, all
Yeah.
right, listen, Chris. I'm gonna swing it to
That's
you,
fine.
Chris. You want to start it off? Who you got between the Mavs and Celtics?
Well, hey, listen, man. I've said it before. I'm saying it again.
How
I
many
got
games?
Mavs and 6, man. And I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm tired of these 49er ass Celtics always being in the mix to win the chip, but never win it. And at this point, I gotta see it to believe it. So until I'm proven wrong, I cannot pick the Celtics to win. I'm sorry. They might. If they do, then all right, cool. Congrats to them. But until I see it happen, I'm not picking them to win. I think the X factor in the series is going to be PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Gafford, I'll start off with because if Porzingis comes back, he's gonna have the idea of not only having to be able to switch on the pick and pops that they're gonna do, but at the same time he's got to be able to play the perimeter as well as protect the paint. And he has shown in his playoffs that he can do that. But when you play a team like the Celtics, who, when Porzingis is back, like to play 5 out, it's going to be difficult to be in 2 places at once. So a lot of the times, I feel like when they're going to go through their little pick and pop, pick and roll sets, they're going to try to run them to get Gafford to switch onto either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. So that way, if they get past them and defense collapses, Drew Holiday, Derek White, and all the boys will be open for three. So I feel like the best way that to stop that would be the Gafford. I feel like Gafford would be a difference maker. I said PJ Washington because at the end of the day, you need your others to step up. Now I'm not saying Washington got to go off for like 28 and 29 points in back-to-back games like he did against the Thunder, but they need him to make open threes. They need him to be aggressive. They need him to average 16 to 17 a game to be able to stay in the series. Luka and Kyrie are going to do what they do. They're going to get their points. But they need PJ Washington, they need Derrick Jones. They need them to make the open shots. So if they do that, then again, I got Mavs in 6, and I'm hoping they win because again, I'm tired of the Celtics always being here just to lose. So I really want them to lose again.
Phew, okay, all right, that's a little bit okay within that analysis too. Great analysis, by the way. Mar, I'm gonna swing it to you, man. Just give me your thoughts. I know, just go ahead, but spotlight's on you.
I just want to say shout out to Chris. You know, he said Mavs in 6, but I'm gonna say Mavs in 5, and
Whoa, this is getting Mavs in 5.
Mavs in 5. I don't
Uh,
see why we'll go any longer. We beat the
wow.
Clippers in 6. We beat the Thunder in 6. Beat the Timberwolves in 5. So I don't think he's just not enjoying any game 7s this year. So he having his Jordan run. So
Having his Jordan run. Okay, okay.
Mavs in 5. So it's just like I don't expect Boston to play us the same way the Timberwolves played us because they're not that dumb. And even if they would just adjust because they're not that dumb.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, I feel like our X factor is gonna be Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively because Derek Lively didn't miss a dunk in that game. He was 100% on all oops. So as long as we pick and roll, they probably blitz, they probably double. I trust Derek Lively passing more than I do Daniel Gafford because Derek Lively can hit the open man when he gets it by himself if he's not under the rim. But if they don't, and it's like Porzingis is playing drop, is gonna get an and one every time on whoever's guarding them, and whoever's guarding them can't guard them anyway. So they're gonna pick up 2 quick fouls, and if they step up, they're just gonna we're gonna throw the oop. So depending on how Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are going to be used in this series, because when the Timberwolves double teamed off the screen, we couldn't do nothing. Like, we couldn't do nothing about it. Then they just stopped because they're dumb. But I don't see Boston doing that. So if it comes to that, kind of scared because we couldn't do nothing against the Timberwolves. And Boston actually has offense. Even if they let us score every possession, Boston has an offense to score too. Like, we can't guard them. So I'm more scared of the Celtics offense than the Timberwolves offense.
Right.
But I just like our closers. Like, Luka's gonna get it. Whoever's guarding him in foul trouble early. I like him closing the game. I like Kyrie closing the game. I don't care about no Jaylen Brown closing the game. I really don't. So Mavs in 5.
Mavs in 5. All right. Well, Kendrick's dealing with some technical difficulties. He'll be hopping on back on the show. But I'm gonna swing it back to you, Greg, before Mari introduces the next topic. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm gonna go with the Celtics.
Oh,
I feel like this is Luka's first like finals appearance, and I think Kyrie. I think we're overlooking the fact that like Kyrie hasn't been necessarily performed well against the Celtics in recent memory. I think he's 0 for his last 10 when he's faced the Celtics in matchups. I think the length that the Celtics can throw at Luka and Kyrie is very different compared to the length that they've seen in any of the other series, either because of injury or because of like youth. But I think in terms of they have like they've faced other teams that have had length, but there's either been a lack of experience there or there's been some compromise to their core roster that like isn't showing isn't allowing them to put their full like best defensive players in the game. Whereas you got Jason Tatum length, you got Jaylen Brown length, you got Drew Holiday length. There's so many different bodies that you can just throw at a Luka or a Kyrie, and if somebody gets tired, you can just switch up the matchup and just have somebody else be guarding them. So I think that that's going to be bothersome. Kyrie, if you look at Kyrie statistically, like recently against the Celtics, he hasn't been putting up insane numbers. Like I think during the regular season, he had a 20-point outing. And I want to say maybe he had like a 30-point outing in the other matchup, and both were L's, and both games weren't really that competitive. So I don't know if this is the same, because and if even if we're like that was before the trade deadline. There was a matchup that happened before the trade deadline before the Mavs had their trade deadline moves where they got PJ Washington, and there was one where they had PJ Washington afterwards, and both of them they lost. So I think that like also with all the vitriol that Jason Tatum got in the last finals for how poorly he performed, I think Jason Tatum is going to come out with a vengeance. And I don't necessarily think like the Mavs defense. Like I think it's been a solid defense so far, but I think that like realistically they haven't, like the last series felt really easy because they could just guard Ant, and if Ant didn't get going, then realistically like you couldn't really rely on like Karl Anthony Towns or whatever. Whereas with the Celtics, for even though they haven't played their best, you could make the argument all playoffs. I will say that there's been a diversity in who's been able to lead the team to win. Drew Holiday's has stepped up a couple times throughout the series. Jaylen Brown's had a couple of games. Jason Tatum's had a couple of games. So it's like, but it's a rotation of players. So I just feel like, I don't know, everything is for the Celtics to win. And I even in saying that, I expect the Celtics to lose game 1 in Boston. But I think they still win the series, and I'm either going to say in 6 or 7. Realistically, it's probably going to be 7.
Okay. Great.
And the X factor is gonna be Kristaps Porzingis, because everybody keeps talking about how Kyrie's going back to Boston, but no one's talking about how Kristaps Porzingis is going back to the Mavs, and Kristaps had a really
Oh my goodness.
bad relationship with the Mavs towards the end there. I mean, all his own good,
and wait a second.
One at a
All I'm gonna say
time.
is, ain't the Mavs,
Chris, go
ain't
ahead.
the Mavs fault that ain't the Mavs fault that Porzingis decided he forgot to play basketball with Luka. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, I mean, no. I'm not even saying you're trying to make the argument to me like the reason why he got to be mad for. I'm just telling you that he's gonna have motivation, and I personally think that I personally think that like at least for this series, I think this is either going to be it's either one or two scenarios. It's either he's going to be the X factor or the Celtics lose the series because I don't think the Celtics win if Kristaps Porzingis doesn't provide them with quality play. How about that?
Well, they don't win then.
Okay.
I
mean, that was your take, was it not? I don't know. you believe he won't? I believe he will.
I'm just saying, if you're saying Kristaps Porzingis is gonna have an urge to go harder, don't you think Luke is gonna have an urge to go even harder? Like,
no, agree, but I'm saying like again, like I personally feel like at the end of the day, the spacing that the Celtics can have is just going to be so good where it's like there's just going to be a lot of opportunities for kickouts. And it's like if you don't think there's going to be opportunities for kickouts with in this?
Because let me tell you why. Because if you watch Dallas, we don't play man-on-man defense. We play team defense. That's why we're so successful. It's a team thing. When it's not all right, he got him, it's no help here, it's no double here. Like, we play defense as a whole team. Not every team does that. Right or wrong?
Agreed. Okay. But I think what has benefited the team, the Mavs team thus far, is that realistically, when you watch these games and you watch the teams that they've played, realistically, there's typically really one predominant person that can get it their own. Whereas they haven't had a necessity.
Wait. You saying the Mavs there's only one?
No. I meant like the teams that they're playing. Like the reason why their defense has been successful has like yes, it has because of the Mavs, but I also think just the styles of teams that they've been playing, like they haven't had it's been less tandem and more one dominant player on the floor that's either that's going
okay.
How's it Cap?
First round.
Bro, the beating up Clippers with James Harden and you're trying to say James Harden.
They both had 30 in the game. Did they not?
Bro, James Harden, if the Clippers could switch between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown or having, because mind you, Kawhi was hurt. So really we're saying Paul George and James Harden.
30,
I think
34 and 35.
Bro. You want to
like you can say the Thunder and the Wolves. I'll agree with you, but you can't say every team they play because Paul George and James Harden are two.
So you're trying to tell me PG-10 in the playoffs, and I'm supposed to rely on James Harden? Come on, bro, be serious. We're having a real conversation. So all I'm saying is, all right, I'm not even trying to argue about that. I'm just saying, like, if that's your best argument, that the Clippers, all right, cool, it went to 6, and like. I'm saying that I think in terms of caliber of players, in terms of where they're at in their career right now, I got the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo over. So I think this is the first moment where you're going to see them going to have to make adjustments where you're going to see opportunities for kickouts in the Celtics like offense, because they're going to need to be able to like provide help. Like they're not going to be able to just stick to their defense for the entire series against the Boston Celtics and expect to win, my personal opinion. Which is going to allow opportunities for Kristaps Porzingis, like Al Horford. Like Al Horford going to have a game. Kristaps Porzingis going to have a game. There's going to be games amongst all of those Celtics that like for them to have a game, for them to win the series, in my personal opinion.
But before we move on real quick, I want to get back to that Kyrie. You said Kyrie don't be. What do you mean by that? Like
I said no. I said Kyrie against the Boston Celtics. If you look at his last 10 matchups, he's 0-10. And
I looked at his last 8 and he averaged 25. So what do you mean?
You said what?
I looked at his last 8 and he averaged 25 in them. So
no. But is it an efficient 25?
I mean, 30.
Because I watched that Boston Celtics series when he was with the Nets. That was not an efficient series for him.
I didn't count those games. You said regular season.
We don't count those.
You said regular season.
No. I said the last 10 times he played. I did not throw in regular season.
All right, we can run this. We're gonna run the tape back. But anyway, at the end of the day, when his first game back with the Nets, his first 2 games back, he had 37 and 40, and he was 13 for 21 and like 14 for 22. So he lost, but he had 37 and 40. Like,
okay, in those 2 games, what happened in the other 2?
He had 15, he had 19, he had 20, he had 23.
And
it all averaged out to 25. So,
and I'm saying for them to have had an effective series, and to that Mavs series looked easy because Luka was averaging 30 and he was averaging 27, an efficient 27. And I'm saying, like, for the Mavs to continue to succeed, they're going to need quality. They're going to need the system that they've had in place is Luka's going to get his buckets and Kyrie's going to give you a quarter and a half. He's going to provide you with timely shots. And I'm saying I'm just concerned that while that system and while that philosophy has worked thus far, it's worked against either very injured players or very injured teams or teams with inexperience. And I'm saying that the Boston Celtics not only have the unique experience of having to guard him every day in practice, they got the chance to play him in a series in which they swept him, and then they get the chance to be able to, so they have a unique experience of being able to know him intimately in a way that other teams don't. So they're not going to be like scared of the Kyrie like breaking you down, dribbling you, doing all this crazy stuff on you as much as a Timberwolves team would or a OKC Thunder team would. That's what I'm saying.
All right, it's there.
Solid points. Hey man, great analysis. All right, okay. Go ahead, Mar.
So with Wemby being in the league and all, I just wanted to ask y'all what makes a general talent. And I want to throw a name out there, and I just want to see how y'all feel about it. And I just want to ask y'all, is Steph Curry a generational talent? I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, it's cool. We can start off with you.
All right. So, I said earlier, and I will say it again. I believe Steph Curry is a generational talent. The reason that I think he's a generational talent is because in our lifetime, I don't think we'll ever see anybody with the ability to shoot the basketball the way Steph Curry did. There are a lot of great shooters in the league, no doubt about it. There are a lot of great shooters in history. But Steph is just on another level when it comes to shooting the basketball. Think about this. He broke his own record for most three-pointers in a season 3 times. Not only that, though, but he's literally about to he already broke the record for most three-pointers made in a career. That record might literally be unbreakable by the time he retires. Because the way he's playing right now, even at age 36, when you can shoot the basketball the way Steph Curry can, as long as you don't get hurt, as long as your body doesn't break down on you, you can play for another 6-7 years. I'm not saying he's going to do that, not at all. But I'm saying he has that capability as long as his body doesn't break down. Because while a lot of athletes lose athleticism, lose certain things physical-wise, he cannot lose the gift of shooting the basketball because he just knows how to shoot. To answer your question about what a talent is, what we can find in talent, I feel like we could all look at the dictionary term for what it is, but at the end of the day, what I feel like this whole debate comes down to, it just looks like a difference of opinions and difference of matters, which I've learned. So for me, I feel like a talent is something that you have an interest in and you work on it to master it. So I'll go for something outside basketball. Let's just say you're a chef. You weren't born a chef. You had interest in cooking, and you work on your cooking to the point where now you're just a master of it. If you're an artist, you have an interest in drawing. You have an interest in painting. You just work and you just continue to work on it to the point where now it's just a masterpiece waiting to happen. I feel like that's what defines a talent. And when it comes to Steph Curry, he has the greatest talent of shooting the basketball. That's why I consider him a generational talent.
Okay. I mean, what they had a lot of great shooters before Steph became a generational and became the greatest shooter of all time, but none of them been able to shoot like Steph. Granted, of course, context, rules, if you want to throw that in there, that's true too, but we've never seen anyone shoot the ball like Steph. And then you could master a craft, but I'm sure there's people that's master shooting, but they aren't able to shoot like Steph. I'm talking about contested threes, fadeaway threes. He's shooting whatever, like just the most ridiculous shots, right? But he is a special talent because, and since Davidson, was he like a high school like? Was he scoring all around like this in high school, or was he just shooting the threes in high school, or was he just turning into a 3-point shooter going into Davidson?
He's always basically been a scorer. He didn't go. He was only a 3-star athlete coming out. I believe a 3-star athlete coming out. So he
Right.
really didn't get a lot of looks, which is why he ended up going to Davidson. But at his high school, he was scoring. He was doing what he did. But at Davidson, you saw in his NCAA tournament run in March Madness, you saw his ability to shoot the basketball. You saw his ability to score, and he just improved upon it coming into the NBA. Now, like we saw at first, we didn't know if he was going to pan out because of the fact that he kept getting injured and he really wasn't progressing. But once Monte Ellis left, we saw a whole new Steph Curry, and this is probably the best example for why I can say he's generational talent, at least to me. I'm not sure how many times this has happened in the NBA, but I remember Gilbert Arenas. I can't remember who it was against, but he hit the game winner, and before the ball went in the basket, he turned around, looked at the crowd, and put his hands in the air, calling for a three. I see Steph Curry shooting no look threes like it's practice. I've seen him shoot the ball. I've seen him shoot a three, turn around, talk smack to the bench, and it goes in. I've seen him shoot a three, turn around, look at his fans plenty of times, and it goes in. He'll shoot the three, go back on defense, and it's going in. I feel like for reasons like that reason alone, to me, that makes him a generational talent, because I don't know if I'm ever gonna see something like that again. Honestly, I really don't.
Okay, so Steph Curry really is a generational talent, just off the fact. Would you say someone's a special talent because their talent is able to shine no matter what type of division of basketball or what level of basketball? Would you say that to a certain extent? Like Steph Curry's talent was so great, he was able to, you know, from a small school like Davidson.
I I can't say that. I'm gonna use somebody that's in the finals right now.
Okay.
Especially for all of us from the area we come from, we all saw Derrick Jones in high school. We all
Right.
knew the brother. We all knew the brother could jump with anybody.
Right.
We all saw this coming. But
Okay.
and again, he might be one of the most athletic players in the league. But I can name 5 people that I would have compete with him right now for that title right now. So when it comes to that, and this is another thing that I'm thinking about. I feel like 2 people can master a craft, but one can just do it better. So,
Right.
So let's say let's just, for example, LeBron and Derrick Jones. I feel like Derrick Jones has mastered his athleticism. We know Bron has, but Bron's athleticism is on a whole nother level, and that's one of the reasons why he's a generational talent.
Okay. Would Ja Morant be a generational talent? Or would you say no? If you was to say no, would it be the reasoning of because we've seen Ja Morant types before?
I mean, that's hard. That's hard for Ja. It's
because Ja like because. Well, go ahead, Greg.
Can I ask you a question?
All right, go ahead.
Is Jalen Brunson a generational talent? Open to the floor.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson. No.
I wouldn't call him.
I wouldn't call him that. No.
When I assess like Steph Curry, like his shooting ability, his shooting skill has reached a level where it's like it's unconscionable, like watching him play basketball, kind of like how Chris described, like he can do so much, because it just, for me, it feels like he's been practicing those shots for an extended period of time. He also had a father in Del Curry who was a marksman in his own right, giving him subtle gains and subtle tweaks to his game over an extended period of time. The reason why I say Jalen Brunson is because when I think about like Jalen Brunson, I know he had Rick Brunson, and there was all those videos of Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson like not really wanting to work out, Jalen Brunson like Rick Brunson like pushing him to like do more, do better.
Right.
And now like you watch him with the Knicks, he's hitting every clutch shot. It feels like, you know, putting that form to practice. So when I watch Steph Curry, and I know that the leg up that Steph Curry had having a dad who was a marksman in his own right, I know that Steph has been putting in work for a long time. And I know that like for me, like when I think about Steph, it's more that not that the adage of like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard type of thing. You know what I mean? Like for me, Steph has just been an epitome of just like working on his craft. But like when you look at Steph Curry, the reason why he's so influential to people is because Steph doesn't necessarily look like when you look at LeBron James, you look at like he's one of one. You look at Wembanyama and you're like he's one of one. You look at Steph Curry and he's the closest thing to a superstar where it's like like, you know, there's a reason why kids go to the gym and start shooting basketballs. It's because it's because you think if you can just master the form of shooting in a way that Steph has, you know what I'm saying? Like you think there's a chance. Like people look at Steph Curry and think, maybe I have a chance if I just focus
he gives
on
them hope. Right.
He gives you hope. So like for me, Steph Curry is a generational player because of all the things that he's been able to do, how he's revolutionized the game. But you can make the argument, but I don't necessarily know. I think he's a great talent. I don't necessarily know if he's generational. But in that sense. So like I think I'm just parsing out words here, but it's like I think people look at Steph and think that like it's the closest thing that in terms of his career path, in terms of like his skill set, it's the closest thing that people feel like they could emulate to get as close to the league as possible. Whereas like if people are like you can't emulate 6'8", 240.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Prior to Steph Curry, the point guards that were favored were the Russell Westbrooks, Derrick Rose, the Tyreek Evans. You had to be and then Curry
you had to be a certain mold. You look at Derrick Rose and you're just like like
he's a special talent.
You know what I mean? Like we started watching, like kids started watching Steph Curry and going to the 3-point line. It's like if I could just master this one thing in a way that like transcends all, like I'll have a chance. You know what I mean? Like I think Steph Curry invokes hope. That's why I think people are saying. That's why I think the argument about like whether he's a generational talent. I think that people are just like parsing out words at this point. I think for me, I look at Steph Curry like a generational player who's transcended the sport in every capacity. But I don't necessarily know. But when I look at Steph Curry, I don't think he's so talented above everybody else that it's only once in a lifetime. I think his work ethic is so generational that like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was able to transcend his limitations in a way.
But I don't know. I mean, not many people can do that though. So that kind
Agreed. No, I agree. No, I agree. But I'm just saying from a standpoint of like, again, out of all of the like every superstar that we know in the NBA, I think Steph Curry, in terms of public perception, feels the most relatable to a common person in terms of like what gives you the best path to get to the NBA. So like when we assess his skill set, it doesn't necessarily feel generational. It feels like he just worked insanely hard at this craft, almost like again, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it is. And again, I'm not trying to bash Steph Curry. He's clearly been working on this for at a very young age with his dad. You know what I'm saying? That's why I brought up Jalen Brunson to start. Like, Jalen Brunson feels relatable to people because it doesn't necessarily feel like, you know, he's like the biggest person in the world. But he's hitting all these big shots. But I'm just saying he's been like uniquely positioned for this opportunity at a very young age with a NBA pro basketball father who knew the ins and outs of the game to be able to instill it on his son. And Steph Curry had the exact same.
So are you saying it's more genetics with Curry that's allowed? No. Like the hard work is there, of course, but the genetics aspect played a good.
But I think it's like one of those, like he's been working on it for so long that like I'm not gonna say genetics, but I'm just saying I think he's benefited from having someone that has pushed him as hard as his dad has in a way that like similar to Rick Brunson pushed Jalen. And I don't necessarily think everyone has that same push and has that same like insight to be able to offer their son at a young age. My
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Oh, okay, Chris. I'm gonna start with you before Mark. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. So through that little 5 minute segment you just had, basically the last part is kind of what I said before you started. I feel like yes, everybody looks at Steph Curry and seeing him that he just has the ability to shoot the basketball, and it gives him a chance. Like, man, if I can master this craft, I have a chance. But this is what I mean by there's just a difference in mastering crafts. Steph Curry has mastered the craft on a whole nother level that I don't know if we'll see anybody else do, and they might be able to master it. Jaylen Brown has mastered a craft that that a lot of people will not see. But I believe that there's some that have also mastered Jalen Brunson's craft at a better level. He's a he's a big time player that makes big time shots. A lot of people in the NBA do that. Look at Ant. Look at Luka. And Luka, I mean, Luka's mastered that craft. Luka's one of the best closers in the league. Kyrie Irving. I'm just saying because that's basically what I mean. Like there's a difference between mastering crafts. Like I'll go to a different subject. Ball handling. John Stockton is widely known as one of the top 10 best point guards to play the game of basketball. Kyrie Irving, I'm not there. Whether you are in the discussions or are in these conversations or not, there are conversations of Kyrie Irving being the most talented player that's ever touched the basketball. Two very different careers, and they both mastered their arts. But when we look at ball handling, I'm pretty sure everybody on this call will say they would rather take Kyrie Irving's ball handling over John Stockton's ball handling. But they both mastered the art of ball handling, though. It's just levels to this. It's literally just levels to this, and that's a big portion of what makes you a generational talent. Like seriously, yes. Now I'll go back to what Governor Reyes says. Some things you just can't mimic, and I feel like you cannot mimic Steph Curry's shooting. You can have the ability to shoot the basketball at a high level. You cannot mimic Steph Curry's shooting though. I think that's just the difference. I Mar, I want to know how you feel about all this though. I haven't heard you say anything.
Because I wanted to get Colin, and then I was gonna say what I had to say.
Oh no, I feel like Steph Curry is a generational talent because I mean, just like Chris, just the main highlight of we've seen a lot of great shooters, and there are a lot of great shooters, and there are some that's perfected shooting. But is there ever? It's like Curry pushed. He has his own level. He's in his own tier, and I feel like we'll probably never get to see someone like Curry shoot the basketball like that ever again. I mean, who knows? The way the offense keeps evolving throughout the years, maybe at some point we may see something like that. But realistically speaking, I don't certainly see it. But like, what young talent right now in the league, in your opinion, Mar? I do want to ask you, like, 'cause of course Victor Wembanyama, he's a generational talent. Is Zion Williamson a generational talent?
Zion,
Yeah,
yeah,
Zion's a
Yeah.
generational talent.
sure is.
John Morant, generational talent.
Sure ain't.
No? Okay.
No,
Was
his
there was Derrick Rose a generational talent?
he sure was.
Okay. All right.
Sure was.
All right.
You
I'm
want to
with you
hear the
then.
difference?
Why?
When you watched D Rose, like, but
I want to hear your
to
perspective.
I know, but let me say this: it's not many people under 6'5" or 6'6" that I would put as generational, but he's one of the closest guards I can say is generational because he was just like himself. Like, like I don't want to hear about his system. I don't want to hear about how many All Stars he had. I don't want to hear about nothing. That man was dominant to the point as if he was 6'7", 6'8", and it was just
Just take
crazy
the words out of my mouth.
how in shock he had teams with his offense ability, And with his God-given ability, his jumping ability, he was able to use that on defense when he needed to.
Yes,
So that's why I think he's a difference maker than other guards.
No, I agree with you 110%. I mean, that was why they had Bron guard D Rose, because he was the only one that could have guarded D Rose.
Like
no one else could.
No
it took one free.
No, he was just him. Like, granted, he did have great players, but he didn't go chasing free. He didn't say, yo, go get me this, go get me that. He was playing with Luau Dang, Joakim Noah. Like, they not giving you 25 a game. Like,
Kirk
maybe
Hines
Luau could give you something, but for him to have teams shook like that, and he wasn't that big, he was just a difference maker for me.
All right, yeah. Okay. All right, then, yeah. Derrick Rose, yeah, Steph Curry, Jeremy Stanley. What happened, Chris?
But I have a question, because and I want Mark to answer this first, because he's the one whose answer intrigued me. So I consider Joel Embiid a generational talent, because when I watch him play, the brother is built like he has the physique of like a Shaq type of player. Like, he's somebody that you look at and you can tell he can literally dominate the game whenever he wants to. But along with having that ability, he also has the gift of a jump shot and a shooter's touch that not many guards in the league have, which I think is what really separates him. So I wanted to start with Marv, because he said he was on the fence about Joel, and I really wanted to know why.
I'm on the fence about Joel because, like you said, he's built like Shaq. He has a jump shot, his touch around the rim. The only reason I don't put him in the list is because for him to be that damn big, it's too many. It's just some reason why he's not averaging 15 rebounds. Like, he don't be down there snagging. Like, he plays defense when he wants to. Like, he has picks and chooses, and it's just like, for you to be a standout at that, bro, it's like, because for me, his jump shot is there, yes. But when you say generational talent, I don't just mean, even though generation is not this amount of years, I don't mean in the next 10 years or 15 years, we see somebody again do it. It's just the fact if someone can do it better than you, that means they jumped over you. So when I say generational talent, it's people that get grouped in together because that's the max you can do. That's just what they're able to do. They equipped the skill that they have at a position that they shouldn't have them at. And yes, he has some of that, but he doesn't have everything like he should. And I'm gonna just go as far as this. I don't even consider Shaq a generational talent, but that could be for another day.
Oh man, nah.
Hold on.
No, brother.
Wow.
No, brother. No, sir, brother. No, sir, brother. No, sir.
The reason I need to know. I just
Yeah,
need to know.
you gotta break that one down.
I promise you, this is not
No,
the
sir.
episode for that.
No, sir.
You.
Bro, I will stay on here for
No,
another
sir.
10.
No,
Wow.
I can't even let you do that. Can't let
You
you.
know, I thought there was going to be a lot of hot takes today. I didn't know who they were going to come from, but I did think it was going to come from Mar. Wow.
I'm just saying, man, like, I mean,
break it. You gotta break it down. I'm intrigued.
Let me say this. For one, let me say this, because I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't watch Shaq like that, yo. I did not. The first Shaq I seen was in Miami. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you take my opinion 100%, but I will tell you this, just from research and some games. Cuz I felt like Cuz was the same way. Like,
are you saying he never evolved as a player?
Bro, he was just so damn big, bro. He should have just been like.
But listen,
when you're that big, bro, when you're bigger than everyone, and yes, you average like 30 and 14 in the finals. Yes, I get it.
But he had the athleticism and he had the quickness and the strength and he had some finesse, like from the Magic to the Lakers. Like not too many. Come on, how many people with his size could really move like Shaq?
Like I said, I'm not the biggest Shaq watcher. I wasn't the biggest Shaq viewer. This is just what I
don't know, man. Shaq,
when
Shaq.
you watch him,
Like,
I haven't watched him for a whole career, but no, bro,
oh,
he was
to
just
say Shaq's not generate. No, I
what
don't
was
know.
he like? I don't know, bro. He was big, like he
Like
was big.
Shaq carry teams.
But that you're just saying he's just had a generational physique. Like all I know, you know what I mean, because I could tell you right. There's a lot of brothers that are big. Like what you gonna call it? What's the boy name?
It's a lot. It's a lot of players who was big and quick, but they wasn't dominating or utilizing the way Shaq was.
Yeah, Boban Bogdanovic is a big dude. He big. That don't mean that he ain't do nothing in the league for real.
He really ain't doing much in the league. I mean, he gets a couple double rebounds, but outside that, nah.
I don't know,
Nah.
bro. He was just extra big. He was, what was he, like 7'2", 360?
Yeah, I mean,
granted, he did move. He did move, but
like he had some finesse to his game.
Was he a great defender?
No. Well, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't say.
I wouldn't. Hakeem Olajuwon is a generational talent. Wasn't. He was moving different. You feel me? Like,
no, of course. He
was on a different level with it. Shaq was just like, big. Like, get out the way. Like,
I hear you, but that's generational.
When Giannis does this now, people say, "Oh, he's
Giannis
big,
generational talent?"
Steph." No, he's like, that's just. All right, the question is no. That's the question for y'all.
We call him the Greek freak.
No.
And
right. I mean, that's.
No.
I'm confused now.
I sat here and just explained all of that. The real question is for y'all, because if y'all think Shaq is one, do y'all think Giannis is one?
I have to give Giannis his I hearken it to like. Do I think Giannis is the most skilled player ever? No. I think when we think about that debate between like James Harden and Giannis, like it's easy to go down the lane and just dunk it and like catch lobs and stuff like that. In terms of skill, do I think Shaq and Giannis are the most skilled? No. But in terms of just pure talent, yeah.
Dominating for a decade.
No, for sure they had their generational talents. Like,
so Kyle, I want you to say it too. I just want everyone to say I think such and such is a generational talent, so I can confirm it and have.
I think Shaq's a generational talent.
No, go to the Bucks one. I will not argue Shaq. I won't. Trust me. I won't argue Shaq. I will argue. I will argue Giannis. So do you think
for Giannis's simple offensive package? I mean, he's doing that, and he's averaging what he's doing and dominating what he's as he is. I mean, that had to speak to something. Because if
yes or no,
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, Chris, do you think Giannis is a generational talent?
No, I ain't gonna lie.
Because if his offensive is that limited and he's dominating,
well, okay.
Thank you. Please go, Chris. Thank you. I'm listening.
I might have to agree with Mar. I might because he's made a valid point. He did make a valid point, and I mean, yes, when you're just just because he's not generational talent doesn't mean he's not one of the most dominant players we have never ever seen in the game.
Exactly. And I will never,
hold on. Is dominance not a talent?
I mean,
like what?
Because listen,
like talent feels raw.
Talent
feels raw and natural. Talent feels like raw, and that's why they literally make this the adage: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Talent is natural. your God-given ability versus something that you
Agreed.
worked on and crafted for over an extended period of time.
Agreed.
Then
But here's why, and I would probably have a different answer if Giannis added more to his game.
okay.
I feel like if he was, and I've seen clips of this. When Giannis was a rookie in his second year, he wasn't the best shooter in the court, but the brother wasn't afraid to shoot the ball, wasn't afraid to take jump shots.
Okay.
It seemed like when he started putting on the weight and he started realizing that he's just stronger than a lot of people, he left that. He just failed to improve that part of his game. And I feel like if he was in a situation where he could be a threat outside the arc like he is inside the arc, I could put him in that conversation. And at this point, you can make the same argument about Ben Simmons. You can. Ben Simmons has a gift. He could have been a generational talent. Is what I'm saying. He isn't one, but he could have been.
All right.
He had the gift of passing the ball like a Magic, like a LeBron, but at a bigger stature. And not only that, though, he's very quick for somebody of his height and size. Yeah. He just decided to not work on the aspect of a game that would have made him a generational talent. And Greg, I get what you're saying by talent. I feel like a talent is an interest that you have to work on. So at the end of the day, everybody's talents they still worked on. Kyrie has a talent of finishing on the basket. The brother was shooting layups without a backboard, so he was practicing how to score with part of the backboard missing. That's still a talent, but that's still his talent though. Steph Curry has a talent of shooting the basketball, but he still had to master that talent of shooting the basketball. You don't just wake up one day and just, oh, snap, I can shoot from 40. I'm cool. No, you got to work on that. It ain't just like, oh, snap, I can twin go between our legs, head these spin move, skip to that lane for lane. You have to work on that. That's stuff you have to work on. And when the case of Shaq and Giannis, yes, they were dominant, very dominant. But they were dominant in the fact that they were stronger than everybody else on the court. We see LeBron dominant, but LeBron's dominant in more ways than just being the strongest brother on the court. We see another one. I mean, we see Kevin Durant be dominant. Kevin Durant not the strongest person on the court. We've seen.
So hold on, wait. Hold on. Let me go back for a second. Let's look at some of the older players in the league, because like Shaq and Giannis feel like throwback players in terms of like they're like mid to late 90s, early 2000s, and then into the 2010s with Giannis and stuff like that. Their games are like feel replicable to like older generations of players. So like when I think about like older, bigger centers, like I'm trying to think, like, I mean, he just passed away, but like Walton, like Bill Walton and stuff like that. Like think about older like big men, like Walt Frazier and I'm sorry, my fault. Not Walt Frazier. Who scored 100?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Brother, you should know that.
My fault. It's been a long day.
What's Philly, man?
So like, hold on. So is Wilt Chamberlain a generational talent?
So I'm glad you said that, because I assumed it was coming up. All we can go off of in terms of that is his stats. So stats can read generational talent. I don't know for sure. I can't answer that question because I never saw the brother play. I just can't answer that. The numbers can say he's a generational talent, and that's where the argument's going to come into play. But for somebody like that's something that you have to ask your grandparents. Your grandparents can answer that question better because they've seen more basketball. They've seen Wilt Chamberlain. They've seen Lou Alcindor. If for those that don't know who Lou Alcindor is, that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar now. They've seen Bill Walton in his prime before he got all them injuries. I can't answer that.
And that's for the audience, FYI, man. Go ask your grandparents.
So, like I feel like that kind of question is difficult to answer. So, like, for the terms of this conversation and based off of just what I know and the research I've done, I will say yes, he's a generational talent because the brother was putting up 50 points, 25 rebounds in the season.
But again, that's just off of stats though. That's off of stats alone. I never saw him play, so I don't know if he could shoot the basketball. I don't know if he was just dunking off everybody. I don't know if he was doing Scott
I-
before Kareem was in the league. Like,
I
don't know
really
what
think
did
he
that.
was
I
doing
can't answer that.
everything. Yeah, I think he was doing it. Yeah, Chris Scott
He didn't
Hood
even win
dunking,
MVP that season.
and that's crazy,
Yeah.
man. Man. Greg, you want to say anything, Marv? Say anything else before we end
Oh
off
no,
the
yeah.
episode?
Let me get back to the original question. Do I think Steph Curry is a generational talent? I do not. Now, Greg really hit it. Okay, Greg really hit it on there with this one because he said it's more just natural. Like if I go to a basketball court, and I just see Steph Curry shooting. I'm not gonna say he's talented. I'm gonna be like, yo, he can really shoot. Like he's obviously worked on it. But if I just see someone, get to the court eating a hoagie, he don't even tie his shoes, and he just windmilling 360, I'm be like, yeah, that boy's talented. Like it's just I feel like
And Greg, you'll probably remember this. Like when Joel was eating a burger during his little warm up stretching, like that. That like so.
Like that's just. Bro,
So
that's just different.
I just feel like you get a sense from Steph when you watch him shoot. Like, okay, LeBron comes down and windmill 360 dunks it, right? You're like, and then you see him like do all these crazy athletic stuff. You like, there's only so much you can do in your backyard. Whereas as soon as Steph Curry hits some crazy threes, the first thing you do in your backyard is go out and shoot some threes. And kind of like how Mar said it, like there's just certain things that people do in terms of it feels God given, or it feels like they inherited this and then they nurture that talent, that natural talent itself, versus like the fundamental aspect of shooting is honestly something that like people can get better at. And again, like Steph is the best at it that we have in this league. But like, I hate to say it, but even like it's there. Like I'd be curious. Like there was at some point that people were looking at Ray Allen like we will never see this replicated.
That's what I'm saying.
There was at one point. There was at one point where we were looking at, and even if you look at 3-point shooting overall in the league of basketball, 3-point shooting, if you could shoot over 35% at one point a couple years ago, everybody be like, "Oh my God, you did it so great! Like here's a great contract." Now, bro, the fact that it's in the 40s,
right,
bro,
you gotta at least be 40% or above now to be.
So I'm just saying, like more people are also developing an ability to get better. So I believe that we're gonna see I just think that Steph is a generational player who's transcended the sport and has transitioned us into a league of 3-point shooting as like the main source of like you could win a championship doing that. But like in terms of generational talent, I don't necessarily believe that.
I got one more thing
but Steph, who would master it to a level of Steph's?
Wait.
Like Steph is in his own level.
I can answer that. I can answer that, but I can't because he's on his own level. What? I'm throwing this name out just for y'all to understand that someone else is not even no. Oh. Damian Lillard can shoot the hell out of the ball. Oh. Like I'm not saying he's Stephen Curry by any chance, but
he's the closest.
In my opinion, Dame is right there. Only because Clay doesn't take, those deep jumpers off the dribble like they do. But Dame is one of those guys that when he gets hot, it looks Curry-esque, to be honest. Like he's pulling from anywhere, everywhere, anywhere. As soon as when he passes half court, one dribble past half court, he's shooting. Right. So, and Dame is the same age as Curry. So just imagine if some young boy is doing it from 8 years old. But the only thing, because I see where Chris is coming from, where he says it's a talent that you have to work on. And I agree, but it's just like sometimes, like, of course, everyone's gonna practice. Of course, you're gonna practice to get better at those skills that you have. But
Right.
when you look at Steph, when you bring up Gilbert Arenas' turnaround jump shot, Gil said he was shooting 500 jump shots a day. When you look at Steph Curry shooting, you see his shooting workouts. There's
Right.
guys in the dunk contest that said, I didn't even practice this dunk before. This is my first time doing it. Like, to me,
You're right.
that's
Okay.
just talent.
Right. Because they
Like
don't.
it's
So
just
so
it's
would you
just
say?
in you. Like
So what?
it's just in you.
Then would you say like? So you're talking about more like the Jamal Crawfords. You're talking about like those
Yeah,
guys
like when he
are
say he
just
don't practice his ball
like
handling,
Jamal.
like
Yeah, when Jamal Crawford said that, I was shocked because you would think the way he dribbles, he got his own signature move. You thought he practiced this, and he said, "No, I don't practice." I'm like, okay, that's talent. That like
that's
okay,
what
I
I'm
see what you're
saying.
saying. I
But
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But that's
yeah, that's
not
how
it that. But
that's
that's
that's that's where we disagree at. Like I feel like that's where we disagree at. I just
right.
feel like you don't really take talent to another level. Like you just have
But if that's the case, you're fixated at so it's not generational. That's just
is Kobe a generational talent?
No, he wasn't. No, that
no.
I can tell you right
Exactly.
now. No.
Kobe.
But he had damn near all the skills.
Okay, Kobe had the talent, but no, generation no. Kobe generational, damn, that's tough. I never
Can I ask you a
No.
question? Hold on.
I
Kobe.
got
Is Michael Jordan a generational talent?
Yeah,
He is.
yeah.
Kobe literally modeled his entire
No.
game
No.
after Michael.
No. We're not gonna sit here and say that because when Chris bring up Kyrie layup package, I'm gonna bring up Michael Jordan, and you're not gonna tell me you bring up Kobe Bryant. We're not gonna do that. So we're not gonna do that. Mike was out there. Mike was out there switching it. He was out there like no, we're not
and
doing that.
hanging, and he was
With the gold
I don't
and
chain
know.
he
on.
was hanging in the air, hanging. He was.
Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan low key invented jelly fam. He low key
You
invented jelly fam.
yo, right. The hang time and oh man,
Low
what
key invented jelly fam.
man? But Kobe's athleticism was freakish when he was younger too. Like he was doing some outrageous
That's what I'm
hang
saying.
time stuff too. So
We think
but I feel like Kobe had the generational, I guess, in terms of work ethic.
I'm gonna end this.
I
There it
guess the
is.
work ethic,
I
yeah, the
got it. There it is.
generational
The
work
work
ethic.
ethic.
I don't know a
Like Steph
player,
has.
right?
I'm
Oh,
gonna say
damn, Kobe is generational.
I can say no. I can say this based off just to answer this question. When I remember watching a couple of videos of this. Excuse me. There were conversations in 2002 and 2003 that Trace McGrady was a better player than Kobe Bryant. But Kobe was, and by this time Kobe already got 2 or 3 championships with his name as well. I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna say. But that does bring me to this question. Just talking about some guys that we grew up watching, and I was thinking about this during the Steph Curry talk. I'm gonna answer last. Would y'all consider Allen Iverson a generational talent?
Hell yeah, hell yeah. He gave the reason why small guards. Oh man, no man. He gave them life. He gave them life.
Yeah. I would have to say yeah.
He gave them life. AI gave them life. That's why no. AI definitely generation. At his size too, doing what he was doing. The athleticism. He could have played football to be honest with you and still like no, that's yeah.
I know you didn't just bring up with football as to why he's a generational talent.
No, I'm saying his talent allows him to play. He's that type of talent. He can cross.
Bro. I know you didn't just bring up football as the reason why he's a generational talent.
That's not the main reason why, but his talent allows him to play multiple sports.
So I get so Deion Sanders is a generational talent then. That's what I'm hearing, right? You better say yes then, because he played professionally.
Yeah.
Yo, answer the question. I don't know why you laughing. I'm not laughing right now. I need you to answer this question. Is Deion Sanders a generational talent? Because he played professional. He played 2 sports at the professional level.
I'm
Did
gonna stick
Allen
to
in
my
the
I'm gonna
NFL?
stick to my original argument. My
I was
original
gonna say,
argument is Allen
do you,
Iverson gave.
do you not believe Deion Sanders is a generational talent?
No, I do. I'm asking Colin because Colin
Listen,
is saying something. Brought a football
my
for somebody that even
listen,
played two sports professionally. Is what I'm
listen.
trying to figure out.
I'm just saying his talent allowed
is Russell
him
Wilson a
to.
generational talent? Because Russell Wilson got drafted in the MLB.
All right,
So
all
is he a
right, all right.
generational talent?
That was the wrong reason to use then, if that's the
I,
case. That's what you want to
is
say.
Colin,
But the
Colin,
original,
I
my
guess
first
Colin Murray's a
reason.
generational talent too.
All right, Chris. All right,
Hey man,
Mr.
he got
45.
drafted.
All right, Mr.
He got drafted by Athletics, and he got drafted
Okay,
by the Cardinals the same year.
all right,
I
Mr.
guess that's some
45.
generational
All
shit
right,
right there.
Mr. 45. With that being said, Brent Nuggets, we're gonna end the episode on that note. Man,
Hey,
this was
shoot
a
your
great
team in that second
episode.
round.
With a bunch of. It's been a great. It's been a great episode of Debates. Hopefully, you guys enjoy this episode as much as we enjoyed recording this episode. Shout out to Greg, Chris, Mark, Kendrick. He had technical difficulties. He couldn't hop on, but shout out to every single one of you guys. You guys made this episode really dynamic. I can't wait to edit and upload this so everyone that's tuned in, that's been commenting. We see the comments. We've seen the subscribers. We've had 30 plus subscribers since 2 weeks from now. So 2 weeks from then, and it's been improving day in and day out. And we really appreciate it. So just keep leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on all streaming platforms. We're talking about Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We're on there free. You don't got to pay a dime. Just check us out, man. Follow us on Instagram at RestrictedZonePod. And like I said, leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.